Okay, Assalamu alaikum students. I hope you people are fine. And I'm going to start my lecture. Today our lecture topic is basically the knee joint. So I'm going to start our lecture today. But before starting a lecture, there are certain points we should know about this topic. But what are the learning outcomes of this lecture? At the end of this lecture, you people will be able to understand that what is the basic anatomy of a knee joint. At the end of this lecture, the student will be able to understand the articulation of the knee joint. In this lecture, we'll also discuss about the various ligaments and the other structures which are present in relation to your knee joint and which are responsible for the maintenance and stabilization of a joint. And in the end, we'll study about the various pathological conditions which are related to your knee joint. So first of all, we should know about the introduction of a knee joint. So what is basically knee joint is? Our knee joint is basically the largest and the complex joint of a body and formed by the fusion of three basically joints. The three basically joints are the lateral femorotibial joint, the medial femorotibial joint, and the femoropatellar joint. So basically, three bones are involved in the formation of a knee joint, and which are femur, tibia, and the femoropatellar joint. So if you see in this picture, we can easily see You can easily see in this picture that the location of the patella, femur and the tibia is shown to you. Here you can see that this is the bone, that is the femur. And here you can see this is on the medial side, the tibia is present, and this is the patella that is present anteriorly. So your knee joint is basically the combination of three bones, which is the femur, patella and the tibia. Next, the question arises that what is the type of this joint? So basically, this is our compound synovial joint, having the two condylar joints between the condyles of a tibia and the femur, and one saddle joint between the femur and the patella. So basically, the condylar joint, the two condylar joints are between the femur and the tibia, and one saddle joint is between the femur and the patella. And we know about the saddle joint that it's basically a joint that is between the two bony surfaces in which one bone is totally concave inward and the other is convex, and they fit together in such a way like a saddle. So basically, our knee joint is a compound synovial joint having the two condylar joints and the one saddle joint between the femur and the patella. Next, we see about the articulation of the joint. The knee joint is basically formed by the articulation between condyles of tibia, condyles of femur, and the patella. As we studied about the basic introduction, we have studied in this. There is basically the articulation between the condyles of tibia, femur, and the patella. Now, we'll move forward toward the ligaments. The ligaments of the knee joints are very much important, and first of all, the most important ligament is the ligamentum patella. As the name indicates that it is somehow related to your patella. So, the ligamentum patella is basically a strong, flattened, fibrous band that passing from the apex and joining margins of the patella to the tuberosity of the tibia. So basically, it's a ligament that adjoins or combines the tuberosity of the tibia with the bone patella. And it is sometimes considered as the extension of the tendon of the quadriceps femoris muscle. And you know about this, that patella is inserted into which muscle? It is inserted into the quadriceps femoris as the sesamoid bone. If we see about the length of the width of the ligamentum patella, it's basically 3 inches long and 1 inches broad. Sorry. So this is all for the ligamentum patella. That is basically a ligament between the tuberosity of the tibia and the patella, and 3 inches long and 1 inch broad. If you can see this picture, you can see my cursor here that this is the bone that is the patella, and this is the bone that is the tibia on the medial side, and basically the ligamentum patella is the ligament that is present between the patella and the tibia. So this is the pictorial illustration of the ligamentum patella. The next ligament we'll move forward is the medial collateral ligament. So what is basically medial collateral ligament is? Medial collateral ligament is basically located on the inner aspect. It's not inside of the knee joint, but it's said to be in an inner aspect because the other structures in the ligaments are present on this ligament. So basically, like all of the ligaments, the function of the medial collateral ligament is to hold the bones together and add the stability and strength to a joint. The medial collateral ligament basically connect the top of a tibia to the bottom of the femur. So basically, it is connecting the shin bone to the thigh bone. So this is the medial collateral ligament. And the basic function of the medial collateral ligament is to prevent the leg from extending too far inward. Example, if you consider this is your leg, so it prevents the inward bending or inward extending too much your leg. So this is basically the function of the medial collateral ligament. And like other ligaments, it helps to keep the knee stable and allow it to rotate. Okay, the next ligament is the lateral collateral ligament, but here we can see the picture of the medial collateral ligament that is present basically on the medial side, and it is connected the femur with the tibia. The next ligament is the lateral collateral ligament. The lateral collateral ligament is a thin band of a tissue that is running along the side of the knee, and that is present on the lateral side. So it's mean that connect the thigh bone or a femur to the fibula that is present on the lateral side. And we know that fibula is a smaller bone as compared to that of the tibia of your lower leg. The basic purpose of the lateral collateral ligament is to prevent the medial movement of the tibia on the femur when various stress is placed on the knee. It means when an extra effort or an extra medial rotation is going to occur at your joint, at your knee joint, then this lateral collateral ligament is the main thing or the main limiting factor that prevents the extra medial rotation of at the knee joint. This is basically your lateral collateral ligament. Up till now, we studied about the ligamentum patella, medial collateral ligament, and the lateral collateral ligament, and these ligaments are very much important for the stability and the protection of your knee joint. Next, we'll move forward towards this is your lateral collateral ligament eventually on the lateral side. Next, we'll move forward toward the oblique popliteal ligament. The oblique popliteal ligament is also known as the posterior ligament. It is not as much important as the medial collateral ligament, posterior lateral collateral ligament, or ligamentum patella, but its importance is that it is basically the extension of the tendon of the semimembranosus. So for oblique popliteal ligament or the posterior ligament, it's almost the thing you have to learn about this a little bit, that is the extension of the tendon or the semimembranosus. The next, this is the basically the picture. You can see here the oblique popliteal ligament. Basically, this is the muscle that is the semimembranosus, and you can see that from the tendon of the semimembranosus, there is an extension of the ligament that is the oblique popliteal ligament. The next ligament is the arcuate popliteal ligament. It is also not so much important as same as the oblique popliteal ligament. Basically, this is extracapsular ligament that is present outside the capsule. It's Y-shaped and attached to the posterior portion of the head of the fibula, basically. So this is the arcuate popliteal ligament, and this is a posterior aspect of the joint that is shown to this in picture. Okay, the next ligaments are basically the cruciate ligaments. The cruciate ligaments are very much important, and they are basically the two types, the anterior cruciate ligament and the posterior cruciate ligament. These ligaments are strong, rounded bands and extend from the head of the tibia to the intercondylite notch of the femur. So basically, these are ligaments that are present between the tibia and the condylar notch of the femur. One thing you should be keeping in mind that ACL, the anterior cruciate ligament, is present on the lateral side, and the posterior cruciate ligament is present on the medial side. But one is posterior, one is interior, but they form a pattern of X. They cross each other like the limbs of X. They are named for their insertion into the tibia. We know that ACL is present, as the name indicates, anterior cruciate, so it is present anteriorly, and the PCL, as the name indicates, it's posterior cruciate ligament, so that is present posteriorly. ACL is present on the lateral side, and PCL is present on the medial side. So these are the few things you must be learning about the cruciate ligaments, that there are two types of cruciate ligaments, anterior and posterior cruciate ligaments. ACL is lateral, PCL is medial, they form the pattern of X. ACL is interior and PCL is posterior. Here you can see in this picture that this is a posterior cruciate ligament that is shown in a very small portion posteriorly, and this above or anterior to it is anterior cruciate ligament, and both of them form the pattern of like a limbs of the X. So basically these are the cruciate ligaments. So after the ligaments, we move forward toward the menisci. So we have studied about the ligamentum patella, medial collateral ligament, lateral collateral ligament, oblique popliteal ligament, arcuate ligament, anterior and the posterior cruciate ligament. Next, we'll move forward toward the menisci. So basically, menisci, what are menisci? Menisci are basically piece of a cartilage, and they are present between the two bones, a joint space between the two bones. If we consider the example of a knee, we see that the menisci are basically moon shaped, crescent shaped, and they are present between the femur and the tibia. Because mostly the knee joint is a combination of femur and tibia. So that's why the menisci are crescent shaped that are present between the femur and the tibia. The functions of the menisci are very much important because they separate the load of a body. We know that knees are the joints where we can shift our body weight mostly. We can run, we can walk with the help of the knee joints. So that's why the load shifting is very much important at your knee joints. Also, the menisci act as a shock absorber. They lubricate the joint active cavity, and due to their nerve supply, they also have a sensory function. So, nerve supply of the menisci is very important, and that's why, due to this nerve supply, they have a sensory function. This is the picture that's showing the medial and the lateral meniscus. Obviously, this is a tibia. So on the tibia side, there's a medial meniscus, and on the lateral side of the fibula, there's a lateral meniscus. They're like white fibrous bands, rounded in structure. Next, we move forward toward the relations of the knee joints. So before studying the relation of the knee joint, it is necessary that you should have a natter atlas before you. And if you open the atlas before you, it's very easy for you people to learn or understand the relations of the joint. What are the structure present on the anterior, posterior, medial, and lateral side of the joint? On the anterior side of the joint, there are anterior bursas, ligamentum patella, patellar plexus of nerves which are basically present. On the posterior side, there are three portions of the posterior we see with reference to the structures present. In the middle, popliteal vessels, tibial nerve, middle genicular vessel, and nerve is present. But on the posterior lateral, mean posteriorly and laterally, lateral head of gastrocnemius, plantaris, and common peroneal nerve is present. Posterior medially, medial head of the gastrocnemius, semitendinosus, semimembranosus, gracilis popliteals are present. This is all for the posterior structures which are present to the knee joint. If we see the medial structures, then medially sartorius, great saphenous nerve and vessels and muscles, semimembranosus, and the nerve, inferior medial genicular vessels and nerve is present. So don't panic, and it's very easy to understand. Once you learn this structure, this will be very easy for you people to memorize it. Laterally, bicep femoris, tendon of popliteus, and inferior lateral genicular vessels and nerve are present. So these are basically the anterior, posterior, medial, and the lateral relations of the knee joint. Next is the blood supply of the knee joint. The blood supply of the knee joint is very important, and basically it's supplied by the anastomosis. Anastomosis is basically the combination of the branching system of the arteries. The five different types of arteries and branches that contribute in this anastomosis, and these are basically the five genicular branches of popliteal artery, genicular branch of the femoral artery, descending branch of lateral circumflex femoral artery, two recurrent branches of the anterior tibial artery, and last one, the circumflex fibular branch of the posterior tibial artery. So it is very necessary that you have to learn these all five branches or the parts of the arteries to your heart, and these are very necessary for making the anastomosis of the around the knee joint. This is a picture that you can show, and this is a very good illustration of the blood supply of the knee joint. You can see here all the branches we mentioned before for the blood supply and the anastomosis of the knee joint. Next is the nerve supply. We have to learn only about their names because we have studied in detail about the femoral nerve and the obturator nerve, but sciatic nerve we'll discuss later on. So these are the basically three nerves: the femoral nerve, sciatic nerve, and obturator nerve, which are the nerves of the knee joint. So here I'm just uploaded a picture of the bursas. We have studied in detail about the bursas, suprapatellar bursa, prepatellar and the infrapatellar and the semimembranosus bursa, which are also known as the clergy magni knee or the housemaid knee. So we have a detailed knowledge about this, but I have all just added the picture here just to people realize that the bursas of the knee joints are also very much important. Okay. The last one is the movements of the joint. So the basically at the knee joint, the movements occur are the flexion, extension, medial, and the lateral rotation. The medial and the lateral rotation are only occur at a knee joint when the leg is flexed, knee is flexed. So whenever we consider about the medial and the lateral rotation of the knee joint, your leg should be flexed. So these are the key muscles which are responsible for the movements of the joint. For the flexion, the biceps femoris, semitendinosus, the semimembranosus, gracilis, sartorius, and popliteus are responsible. For extension, quadriceps femoris is responsible. For medial rotation, sartorius, gracilis, and semitendinosus are responsible. And popliteus is also one of the muscles that is responsible for the medial rotation. For the lateral rotation, biceps femoris is responsible. So this is all for the knee joint. Uh, there is the locking and the unlocking of the knee joint and the applied anatomy of the knee joint. We will discuss in the next lecture along with that of the applied anatomy of the hip joint. So if you have any query or a issue regarding the knee joint, you may ask me in your interactive session. So up till now, try to understand and learn the knee joint in detail and stay home, stay safe. This is all for today. Allah Hafiz.